Good Monday evening, Southwest Arkansas. Welcome back, Southwest Arkansas weather here on Monday, January the 5th, 2026. Let's take a quick look at your evening weather blog for what's in store for the next 6 days and talking a little bit more about what could be a possibility as we move forward throughout this week. We're going to talk about all of that here in just a few minutes. So, jumping into the 6 day forecast. We do have some chances of rainfall later in the week, but first, starting off, we continue with dry conditions through Tuesday. I think we stay dry anyways through the beginning of Tuesday and into Wednesday. Partly cloudy to mostly, or well, partly cloudy, I should say, to partly sunny skies look like a good possibility throughout this time frame. Kind of like what we've seen today. Some areas had sun, some other areas, they didn't see any sun today, and some areas had a mix of both. Highs, though, going to continue to warm back up into the 70s, nearing the mid to upper 70s, possibly in some locations, with overnight lows around 41 degrees and in the 40s there on Tuesday. While we're on the topic of low temperatures, tonight, Monday night, we're only going to get down to the 50s tonight, so don't expect anything major in terms of cooler conditions. Cloud cover is going to come back in overnight tonight and slowly decrease throughout the day on Tuesday, or it should anyways. We'll see, though, how well that works with that. Today was the first day it actually decreased across the region and didn't just stay the same so far in the last 3 days. But Wednesday, another day of partly cloudy skies. Highs in the lower 70s and upper 60s. Overnight lows around 50 degrees. Around 50 degrees and into the 50s across the region. 20% chance of a shower after really late that night into Thursday. Thursday, we got a 60% chance of some rainfall and some thunderstorms. Mostly cloudy skies. Highs around 75. Overnight lows are in the 50s. Once again, another warm day there, even into Friday with some rain chances around 30%. A few thunderstorms could be possible with some partly cloudy conditions and highs in the upper 60s and nearing 71 degrees. Overnight lows going to be around 35. Those rain chances should be long and gone by the time we dip down towards that cooler mark there on Friday. Then mostly sunny skies. A cooler weekend ahead with highs in the 50s on both Saturday and Sunday, maybe in the 40s some on Sunday in some locations, but mostly sunny to sunny skies and overnight lows in the 20s through that time frame. Talking about this, we do have the Storm Prediction Center has put out a slight risk for pretty much eastern Arkansas for Friday. They are watching the Thursday time frame closely. That would be over the Arklatex region or our region, or more centered over our region if that makes if that comes to fruition. Right now, it's pretty low chance from what they have mentioned, and from what we're seeing, it still needs to be watched, though, because that can easily change, just like this for Friday can be adjusted depending on the speed of the system and all that. But this does clip portions of our area. You can see Union County, El Dorado, and Calhoun counties are clipped in that slight risk. So we'll have to watch that closely for Friday. We'll keep you updated on the newest, though, on that as we go forward. So what's the big deal about Friday? Or really about this weekend. Why are we about to see this big swap overall in the pattern, and what is heading our direction? As always, we're going to take a look at our good, handy, and dandy 500 millibar level height winds, and this is, once again, about 18,000 feet up into the atmosphere, and this pretty much just shows us what the overall pattern could do. This helps us get a general idea of what could be a possibility. As we go throughout Tuesday, we start to see more zonal flow, which is really from east to west there across that, but that's not going to last too long as we begin to shift there with this system that's coming out of the California or the western U.S. and northern Mexico area. As we go into Thursday, starts to head our way. You can see that here with that making its impact there throughout the day on Thursday. That'll help us with our rain chances on Thursday, a little short wave there ahead of this main trough. That short wave's pretty much just a little dip in these lines and a little area of energy, or a little wave or short wave of energy and wind pretty much that moves through ahead of the main trough, which is back off over here near California and the Four Corners region. That'll start to make its way towards us on Friday. You can see a low pressure developing there with those closed lines in there. That is a low pressure developing along the trough here. You can see that trough by the dip in the winds and the dip in the overall winds. That's your trough. And that will move towards us and move over our region really by late Friday, really through Friday into Saturday. And by that time, we're talking more east and north of us with that, but we can still see a good flow over us, and that'll help us with our rain chances through this weekend and bringing in that cooler air as that as the upper level wind shift to be out of the northwest there briefly. And then we'll see what happens elsewhere as we go into next week. But that's just an overall look at the pattern on that side of things. Let's take a look at our rain chances and potential accumulation, or not necessarily potential accumulation, but let's take a look at the precipitation type and all that stuff with rainfall and all that. Here is Arkansas right here. And as we go throughout this week, you can see Wednesday, not a whole lot, but as we start to go into Thursday, you can see some rain chances and then more rain chances there on Friday with that better severe threat currently into Friday evening and overnight there, and then that cooler air moves through. So taking a look at this, we're going to see at the surface our dew points the winds are going to keep coming out of the south, and that's just going to help pull that moisture ahead of this system out of the Gulf and up into Arkansas. Here is Thursday, and you're talking dew points in the 60s. So a humid, probably into the week, looks like a possibility. There as we go into Friday. You can see just a good warm layer or moist layer there before it starts to go away as that cold front comes through and dry conditions move in on the backside of that front. If we take a look at temperatures, you can see we're going to stay on the warm side. Don't necessarily take those numbers as exact. This is just one model. But as we head into this weekend, you can see cooler conditions look like a good possibility there through the weekend. How long will they stick around? That's just some things we'll have to iron out the details on as we go later into this time frame and later on down the road with that. But once again, that'll bring us to the end of today's evening weather blog. Just a quick look at what we have in store for this week. We are starting to we got our next big chance of rainfall, which also before we end that off, let us take a look at the potential rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center through that time frame, if it's possible. Let's actually take a look at it on the European model and see what it's showing. Give me one moment here. Let me pull that up through this time frame. Once again, I want to heed very, very much caution whenever we take a look at this. This is going to change multiple times throughout this time frame, but as we see through this weekend, maybe some locations anywhere between half an inch to on the higher side, maybe an inch to maybe an inch and a half in some locations. So our first real big rain chance of the new year and first big rainfall chance in a long time of accumulating rainfall, if that is the case. So we'll have to watch that closely, see what happens with that as we move forward into this upcoming weekend. And see, or as we go towards the end of this week, and see what happens with that there. As always, multiple things can change. It's weather. That things can change very often. But that's going to bring us to the end of today's evening weather blog. As always, we want to say a big thanks to all of our sponsors: Patterson's Credit Union, Southern Dumpster Rental, Landmark Insurance Agency, Palmer's Roofing, and J&S Auto Supply Bumper to Bumper for helping us get this information to you guys. Make sure to check them out and give them a call and if you're in need of any of the things that they provide. As always, we want to say big thanks to all of our followers. And once again, if you're new here and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so, and hit that notification bell so you get notified anytime we upload a video. 65% of the people who watch these videos, if I'm not mistaken, are not subscribed. And if you don't have an account, it's free to make one. Just use your Gmail or email, and you can make one and subscribe to the page and subscribe to your favorite YouTubers out there so you get notified anytime they upload a video and all of that fun stuff. Also, check us out over on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's our main source. So, as always, have a great rest of your week or of your Monday. see you back here tomorrow evening. And as always, thank you guys very much for trusting us right here with your source for all things Southwest Arkansas weather.